Hello everyone. So welcome to this session on learning from IPMAT Indore, IPMAT Rohtak and JIPMAT 2024. This session is specially designed for the 2025 and 2026 aspirants. For 2024, the season is over. They are waiting for their final converts. The preparations for PI and everything is going on. This session is specially meant for you guys who are preparing, who is going to write these entrance exams next year or next to next year. That is in the year 2025 or 2026. So let's look at the common mistake that you should avoid for your attempt. Okay, the learning from this year's paper. So if we look at the first mistake that student generally makes is predetermining the cutoff of the actual exam. Year after year, mock after mock, we keep on telling one simple thing, that do not assume that this is going to be the cutoff. For example, in 2023, the cutoff for short answer section was 12 marks, and lot of students were always questioning us, sir, why the section is not very difficult, why the cutoff of our mocks, okay, of the IMS mock were 20, 24 and 28 marks that time. Okay, the reason was very simple, that you cannot predict that the cutoff will remain 12, and we wanted our students to be prepared for the easier section as well as for the difficult section, and hence the question type, the level of difficulty of that section of that mock will keep on going up and down. Out of 15 paper, we had 8 paper where the cutoff was either 20, 24 or 28 marks. If you look at this, the cutoff in 2024, it was 24 marks. A lot of students, they go with a predetermined mindset that this is the cutoff, and because of which a lot of students attempted the actual paper with little bit of cautious, and hence their attempt decreased. They were able to manage the cutoff, okay, they clear the cutoff, but they were not able to score high. There were some students who were able to score 40 and 44 marks, 48 marks as well. Had that been not the case, if the student would not have assumed what the cutoff would be and would have taken some calculated risk, some calculated guess, I am sure they would have been able to increase more marks in the short answer section. If you look at the MCQ section, the cutoff in 2023 was 39 marks. This year it was 35 marks. I have written 31 in the bracket because 4 marks was allotted as a bonus to everyone because one question was discarded from the actual exam. If I go back, in 2022, the cutoff was 43. Last year it was 39. This year it was 31 actually. Okay. Let's consider 35. Do you think the cutoff will remain 35 this year again? I really doubt. Okay. Uh, I'm saying why I really doubt, because IPMAT Indore is known for unpredictability. Okay, they might set a slightly easier section, or they might have a slightly difficult section, or maybe the same section. So don't go with the predetermined, again the same learning, okay, the same feedback, the same feedback basically. If you look at the IPMAT Indore verbal ability section, people were saying that the cutoff will go high, it will go up to 130 and 125, the bare minimum. If you look at the IMS sim test, okay, you can check with your seniors, the cutoff that we had given, in most of the paper, the cutoff was in the range of 100 to 115 odd marks. In one odd paper, the cutoff went to 126 and 130 respectively, but otherwise it was in that range. Okay, because it's always better to be prepared for a difficult paper rather than to be prepared for an easy paper and the actual paper comes out to be difficult. So again, will the cutoff remain 130 next year, or will it go up to 125? I don't know. It might go to as low as 76 also. In 2019, the VA section cutoff was only 76 marks. So you never know that. Okay. So don't guess what will be the cutoff and prepare for that exam accordingly. Similarly, if you look at IPMAT Rohtak, from 409 in 2003, it went down to 301 marks. Can you imagine that? The cutoff decreased by almost 108 odd marks. Can you just imagine that? A lot of students, a lot of mentors across India, they were predicting the cutoff will go as high as 380s and 400s and whatnot. Okay, even we predicted the cutoff will be around 330 to 345, 350 somewhere, but IPMAT Rohtak, they shocked everyone. Maybe the paper was easier as what students said, the question paper is not out, but might be the case that the questions were a bit tricky. That's a possibility. The possibility that some questions would be tricky and student would have got confused and would have assumed the value and would have marked the answers, the wrong answers basically. Okay, if you look at the JIPMAT paper, IPMAT, IPM Jammu and IPM Bodh Gaya, the cutoffs are not yet out, but the cutoffs are bound to go down this year. Okay, there are not many students who have scored 340s and 350s, very few students as compared to last year. So the cutoff will ideally go down. Okay, because there were few questions which were difficult and there were few sections which were difficult. There were some time consuming sets due to which the cutoff will go down. There is no point in practicing the same level of paper in every mock. And whenever you write a mock, this is a learning for you. Whenever you write a mock, you need to understand that attempt any mock with a free mindset. Give your best and then let the cutoff be decided after you write the exam, after you write any mock. Do not decide that this is this much I have to score this in this mock. I have to score 20 marks. I have to score 24 marks. What if the paper is very difficult, or what if that mock is very easy? What would you do? So do not regulate your attempt. Okay, do not regulate your attempt. Give your best shot. Moving on to the next learning, change in the difficulty of the section. And this is what we have been saying. Okay, so in QA short answer section, there was statistics involved and a lot of students got confused. There were 3 questions of statistics, a set on statistics. IPMAT Indore has never tested a set in QA short answer section. A lot of students got panic and for them it was new. A lot of students didn't even attempt, didn't even read that question. Forget about attempting it. A lot of students, they did not even read because it was statistics. Statistics was the first time which was ever asked in an IPMAT Indore examination. There were questions on average, but not on median and something related to median and combination of frequency data and all those things that they had never asked earlier. If you look at the QA MCQ section, it looked very difficult. When the student gave the feedback, it looked difficult. It's a really difficult paper. The cutoff also suggested the same thing. Okay, but if I ask you, was it really difficult now? If you see the paper, I don't think so. Why a lot of students panicked in the actual paper? Because the DILR set, okay, which is generally a student friendly, which is generally a 5 question set, where student could score more marks, where student can spend 10 minutes and get all 5 correct. That was one set which was difficult this year. A lot of students were not able to crack the set and hence they panicked. But if you leave those 5 questions aside, the remaining 25 questions, I don't see that, if I would have given those 25 questions to a student to attempt in 40 minutes, a good prepared student, I am sure out of 25 questions, student would have easily attempted 15 to 17 odd questions. However, in the exam, because they spent a lot of time on the DLR set, they were able to attempt 11, 12, 13 odd questions and hence the cutoff went down. The paper, the level of difficulty of the paper, I don't think it was difficult. Okay, it was as good as last year or maybe slightly a notch easier than last year. The cutoff signifies something else because the DILR set was difficult, but the remaining 25 questions of QA were not at all difficult. Some of them were really doable and you could have attempted in a minute or something, some of them. If you look at the RC section, okay, this year, generally IPMAT Indore will always, have been asking RC, which will be having the word limit of around 370 to 420 odd words. This year, there was one RC of the similar length. There was one RC which was more than 500, 550 words, which means your reading time would increase. And hence, you will also spend little more time while solving the question because you have to go back to the RC and check, you have to read 100 more words, 100, 120, 150 more words, right? Parajumble became tricky. IPMAT Indore was, always, parajumble were never tricky. They were always easy, short parajumble. This year, the parajumble was slightly lengthier and couple of out of 5, 2 parajumbles were also tricky. Because of this 2 parameter, the VA section cutoff this year went down. If you look at the IPMAT Rohtak, I said earlier also, it seemed to be easy paper. A lot of students attempted 90 plus questions, 100, 105, 95. This was the attempt for most of the students, but the cutoff says something different. Okay, the cutoff was only 301 mark, which means that there would have been some questions in the paper which was easy, but might be some information was tricky, okay, which students were not able to understand or comprehend in those 2 hours of time pressure. That's what we can assume from the cutoff which is given by IPMAT Rohtak. If you look at JIPMAT section, JIPMAT was assumed to be a uh, easy paper, easy exam, but the LR section turned out to be difficult. Difficult in the sense it was time consuming. Uh, there were few single questions, coding, decoding, and the stuff which were really difficult, really challenging, and students spent time on that, because of which they were, not able to attempt more number of questions. Again, due to which the cutoff decreased. Next year, if the level of difficulty go back to what it was earlier last year 2023, maybe the cutoff will not even remain 327, it might go 330, 340 also. So again, the same thing, do not assume what the cutoff is. Do not assume that a particular topic will never be asked in any exam. Statistics was asked this time. Do not assume that IPMAT Rohtak and JIPMAT will never ask you trigonometry or matrix determinant for that matter. They might ask you, you don't know that. Okay, they might ask you. So whatever it is, you need to prepare for the best. Let's move to the next learning that we have. This is a beautiful learning that I would want to make everyone understand. So we at IMS did the analysis of all the students who got an IPMAT Indore call, IPMAT Rohtak call, and the JIPMAT score more than 310. So all the students who fetch the IPMAT Indore call, the average number of sim tests that those students write was 13.3 sim tests out of 15. If I look at all, for all the students, that average is less than 9. That average is less than 8. In fact, okay, lot of students, they give up in between. They don't trust themselves. They don't trust whether they were not confident whether they will be able to convert the IPMAT Indore, and hence they shifted their focus to Rohtak or a JIPMAT. Okay, but otherwise, if you look at it, can you see this number? Can you understand? 13.3 that out of 15. We have 102 IPMAT Indore call this year. The average number of sim tests that the student has wrote is 13.3, and the lowest number of sim tests is 12. The least number of sim tests that the student has written is 12 among those 102 IPMAT Indore call getters. When we look at IPMAT Rohtak, 8.1 mock test, 8.1 sim test out of 10. Again, a huge number. If you look at the JIPMAT, a student scoring 310 and above is 4.1 sim JIPMAT out of 5. This clearly indicates that more the number of sim tests you write, better are your chances to fetch an interview call. Better are your chances to score high marks. You need to write mocks, you need to write sim test, you need to understand that writing the test will build that habit, will build that muscle memory for you to perform better in the actual exam. So this was the learning that I would say, that not from the exam but after the exam, from the student data who appeared for the mock test. The next learning that I would say is the predetermining the difficulty level of the question. So if you look at this question, okay, in the first go, I found it little, probably I would not have attempted this question in the first go, and a lot of students, they did not attempt it. I know at least out of this 102 students who got an IIM Indore call, I know at least 9 students have not attempted this question in the actual exam. Can you believe that? Trust me guys, this is very easy question if you know the basic rule of logarithm. If you know the basic property of logarithm, this question turns out to be a really easy one. And at the same time, this is the statistics question that I was talking about. Okay, maybe you'll not be able to read the entire question properly, but as I said, a lot of students, were not able to, they did not even read this set of 3 questions. Even if they read it, they simply bluffed it, they simply marked it because there was no negative marking. Okay, this set was not very difficult if student have had that patience, because you have 15 minutes, 15 questions to be attempted in 40 minutes for a short answer section. You easily have those 3.5 minutes per question. This was a question of a set of 3 questions, which means if a student would have spent 5 to 8 minutes, 6 to 8 minutes on understanding the set and solving each question correctly, I am sure, let's say maximum 12 minutes, these 3 questions should have been attempted very easily. So this was a, I would say a cakewalk question for a student who knows statistics very well. At the same time, if I look at this question, okay, so this question was asked in JIPMAT. A lot of students, I know, I spoke to around 8-10 students, of which I remember at least 4 or 5 of them telling कि sir एक series वाला question बन ही नहीं पा रहा था, we tried for 3.5 4 minutes, बन ही नहीं पा रहा था. Okay, now this was that question. A lot of students got the logic for the alphabet, A say B say D, Y V R. The logic was clear that it should be G and M, but they were not able to figure out whether it will be 134 or 148. They kept on trying, and kept on trying. Okay, and they had to leave that question, spending 3.5 4 minutes on a question, which will mean that you are attempting 2 questions less in the overall count. Okay, and those 2 questions will play a very big role, because that is 8 marks. You're losing out on 8 marks there. Lot of students miss the cutoff by 1 or 2 marks. 8 mark is a huge game changer according to me. Okay, so this was, if you're not able to get it, you need to understand in a mock, in a paper like JIPMAT or a Rohtak, where the time is very important, your attempts need to be as high as possible. You need to understand that you cannot spend more than 1.5 minutes on any question. If you're not able to get it, simply move ahead, and maybe if you have time, come back later. Okay, so that's the fourth learning that you have from this year. This is the JIPMAT paper, JIPMAT exam. Okay. Okay, so that's it from my end. If you are liking our content, please do like this video, share, and maybe comment. If you want to ask anything about the examination, please comment. Me as well as my team are very responsive. We reply to your queries within 12 hours. And do subscribe to our channel for more such content, for more such educational content about the various entrance exams. So this is what we have for right now. Very important announcement: from Monday we are coming up with a series known as Career Coach, where we will be discussing various careers such as BBA, IPM, finance, economics, psychology, mass communication, and various top colleges in those fields, and various other information. This will run on for next 15 days. Starting Monday, it will go on for the 15 days. So do subscribe to our channel so that you get the notification for all this, uh, the career coach session, the career coach series that we are going to do from Monday. Bye bye, and all the best for your preparation.